Hi friends, it has been long since we met. I know the last 2-3 weeks I couldn't publish any videos because of my sister's wedding, so I couldn't publish much videos in the last 2 weeks. So now I'm back, and there have been a lot of requests for me to publish a video on how to prepare for the upcoming DNB, as well as how to approach the subjects, each subject individually, and especially this anatomy and biochem and physiology. It's first year, very remote subjects that we have learned long back, and we have forgotten many of the concepts there. So they asked me how to prepare the subject. So as a part of it, first I'll just teach you, or I'll just give you a video on the changed DNB pattern this time. It's not much of a change. Actually, they just copied the NEET. Usually the DNB did not have negatives. I've written in the video. You just go into the video. So you just listen up for the DNB. I'll be regularly publishing videos again for the next 2-3 weeks also. On the different subjects, how to approach anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, patho, pharma, micro, forensic, all these very important block subjects with a lot of yield, I'll be publishing in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So as a first step, let us see this video on DNB preparation and revision for the next 1 month. It's coming up in the next 1 month, so we'll be doing a revision on those particular subjects. Okay. So and also I want to highlight something else. My students is that in Medpg we follow a method of teaching everyone what they are good at. So I'll say that if don't follow my strategy blindly. If you're feeling that your learning material is yielding you very well and you're able to stand in the top 10 of pre-PG as well as Medpg exams, I think then your strategy is sound and safe. So don't try to shift over. I'm telling this for those people who are actually in the mid spectrum, who are struggling to come up. They're working really hard, but they don't know how to approach it and what to do. Okay, so to come up in the ranks, to come up in the hierarchy. So I'm saying that this strategy is for those people who are not still yet got an idea on how to approach a particular subject, or how to approach all 21 subjects together and get a particular rank. You secure your rank in the clinical spectrum, that is first rank to the 5,000 rank of NEET. So this is for those people. So if you're not in that spectrum, if you're not seriously started preparing and you're just idea of attending the NEET and leaving it off, just qualifying, then don't follow this video. Also, those people who are already in the streak in the first 100 and safe and sound with your strategy plan, don't shift over. This is for those people who are struggling, really working hard, but then doesn't know how to crack it. Okay, thank you.
Hi friends, welcome back to the Medpg Thrissur EdgePlus series. Today we will be discussing about the changed DNB or NEET pattern, which is actually expected for the next NEET. Since NB is conducting both DNB and NEET, I expect this change to be continued into the next and upcoming 19 NEET also. So this is a changed pattern for DNB. Why it changed is there are two changes major that has happened in this one. That is, first one is that usually the DNB does not have a negative marking scheme, but NEET had. The last 9-18 NEET had a negative marking scheme, but usually DNB does not have a negative marking scheme. So this time in this July or June session, the 29th session, DNB has incorporated the negative marking scheme, such same as NEET, into this exam. That is 4 marks for a correct response, and incorrect response they'll deduct 1 mark. Okay, and another major point that you should be keeping in your mind is that there will be an option for marking the review. That is, when you're seeing a question and you doubt of the answer, you can mark it for review. But then they have said that at the end of the exam, they will actually consider the reviewed option for evaluation. For example, if there is a question A that is from anatomy and 4 options are there, you have not marked this as a correct response, that is as a green response, but then as a marked or flagged question. At the end, if you don't have time to come back and see this question also, don't worry. If you had marked it for review, that is you're 50-50 sure and you have marked it for review, DNB has said that they'll consider these reviewed options also for evaluation, just as a marked response. That is 4 marks for the correct answer and 1 mark reduced for a incorrect option. And the unmarked answers, that is the unattended, unmarked answers or unflagged answers, will not be considered for evaluation, and it's a 0. Okay, there will be no deduction for the unanswered questions. So that is a standard practice, but then I just wanted to make this go into your head very clearly. That is why I'm saying that. Then another major thing that we have observed in this time's prospectus is that they have given a tentative or a professional weightage of each subject, and like this is not a committed one. Usually NPE does not keep like 100% sticky to this particular list, but then this gives us a potential importance of each subject in our preparation. Okay, this should always be taken in your head. Usually, I've already given you another video on how to prepare for NEET, JIPMER and AIMS, like my previous video. If you can see that, I've given a strategy to approach each subject. But then, since this time they have given an actual weightage, it usually comes in other prospectuses also. But then, since there is a weightage for each subject, you should be keeping it in your mind before preparing. So I've given the list and the questions, numbers. But then seeing this list and number, there's a clinical as well as the preclinical as well as the clinical ones. Part B is the clinical. See, the weightage of questions is given here, but seeing like this will not give us an impact in your head. We should always tabulate your data and see. I always believe that there is a data. You see the data and you get nothing in your head. But then if you tabulate it is like this, then a picture becomes more and more clearer. You see, we can divide it into three. That is the four. That is the first year block, the second MBBS block, then the major subjects and the short subjects. Okay, we have seen that in the previous one, in the previous video, I've showed that the short subjects are having 65 questions above. But then, according to the new plan, you can see that that the first year subjects have gained great importance. That is real volume to the number of questions have been added there. It was just 15 in the usual trend. Then I was saying that anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry is having 24 questions weightage each. There is 72 questions is provided by the first year block. Okay. And then the second MBBS block will give us 66 questions. That is the patho, micro, pharmac along with forensic medicine will give us 66 questions for the DNB of this June session. Okay. And then psychiatry, ophthalmology, ENT, orthopedics, RT and RD, derma and anesthesia together will contribute 51 questions. See, this is the shorts block. As I've told earlier in a number of occasions, shorts is a very interesting session and you should keep it in your mind. I'll come back to that area. Then the major subjects, that is the medicine, surgery, ONG, PSM and pediatrics together will contribute 111 questions. In that, pediatrics having 12 and medicine is having 26, surgery is 25. Surgery is just a pure general surgery without including ENT or orthopedics into it. That is 25. ONG is 24 and PSM is 24. See, I have always said that, see, if these 5-6 subjects will take a huge amount of time to complete. That is, the medicine is so exhaustive, surgery, so many topics are there, and ONG, it's even though if it's readable through, if you go through Ashut Sir's notes or Sakshi Arora, you will be able to clear ONG very easily. It may take some 4 plus or minus 2 days to finish the entire ONG. But then PSM and medicine and surgery is very difficult. So I would always say that the standard practice should be to listen to a standard class that is very good or an average good class for medicine, surgery and for PSM, and then just read the standard books, that is Mudit Khanna for medicine and Amit and Ashish Gupta for surgery. That the entire book you clear off. You clear off Mudit Khanna's standard notes and Ashish Gupta's standard notes, and you attend a standard examination, that is an exam conducted by Medpg or by Pre-PG or some other online examination series. If you attend those exams and you can score above 70 percentile, that is you stand in the top like 500 if it is a question it's answered by some 5,000 people. Okay, so that will do. That will be enough for medicine, surgery and PSM, because you put a lot of energy into it. The yield that you get will be very poor. For example, I have always told you that a fresh pass out from medicine from first time attender for NEET, you'll usually score around 15 questions correct for medicine out of 25. And you put a 3-month study into medicine, exhaustively studying everything in Mudit Khanna and the class notes and other different lecture series, and you go for the exam, the maximum you're going to score is around 20, 22 or 20 maximum. Okay, so to get the 5 extra questions, you have spent so much time, but then you have not gained time, anything out of it. You've not gained anything serious out of it. But at the same time, you spend for medicine, you can finish the entire 14 to 20 subjects that I've told you, that around all the short subjects can be finished by the same amount of time you put in medicine. Okay, that is, psychiatry will lead you 6 questions, and a person who have not read psychiatry, he cannot answer anything. Okay, maybe 1 question he'll get correct out of luck. But then if you have read just 50 or 60 pages of note in Arvind Arora and the standard class of psychiatry, you can get 5 out of 6 questions correct. See, that is a real yield coming out of this small subject. So psychiatry, opthal, ENT, orthopedics, RT and RD, derma, anesthesia, all these things yields the same way. So for the amount of yield you get from the time and the volume you consume is very high for the shorts, and same goes for the second year block. And another important thing I've told you in the previous video, just a revision, that is, if you learn patho, micro, pharmac and biochem, that is biochem, also a little of physiology, you can answer a lot of questions that comes from surgery, medicine, ONG and pediatrics. So this is actually a cross yielding subject also. So when you spend time in patho, anatomy and patho, and that is the second year block and the first year block, it's not that waste. It doesn't go waste too much, because that will yield you in the major subjects also. Okay, so that's why I'm saying please orient yourself to the volume of the material you have to consume and the result you will get out of subject also. Okay, so that is it for the recap. See, that is the DNB has now committed 66 questions in the second MBBS block, and the first year block with 72 questions. So I would say that when you're making your revision plan, you should put some more weightage into the second and the first MBBS block, and you should reduce the effort you put into the major subjects, and you should try to cover everything that comes in the shorts, because it's very easy to finish the limited notes that is there in the shorts. Okay, so you should put a very serious effort into the short subjects as well as in the second year block. And forensic medicine is a wonderful subject. You read the limited set of notes inside forensic and you cover, and you can get even 11 out of 12 questions correct very easily. That is forensic, toxicology and the general forensic. If you read the entire subject, it is very scoreable subject. Okay, so read forensic, you are getting 12 questions out of it, and it's really beautiful. So please read forensic very well. Okay, so as I have told you in the last, this is just the review. You start from the short subjects, finish the first year and second year block, and then go into majors. Don't get stuck up with the majors and stay there for some 4-5 months, and then finally you get stressed and screwed and you've not finished anything. Then run into the first year and short subjects, and you get scared and lose an entire year goes a waste. But then if you finish short subjects systematically, you read all the limited set of notes, that's more than enough, because most of the questions are predictable. So you read the short subjects very cool and easily. Then you go into the first year and second year block and spend a lot of time there. Some 1 or 2 months you spend there, and you finish the entire block. Then move into the major subjects, approach it systematically. Just attend major class sessions or the lecture sessions, read the notes, read a standard textbook, answer the questions and finish it off. Don't waste extra time there. Okay, just your aim should be reaching more than 70 percentile of the general public for the major subjects. Okay, and I have told you that the pyramid of questions, see, without getting the basics and the medium questions correct, there is no point in learning all the controversial questions and the big high-fi questions that comes in many of the present online examination scenario. See, I want to warn all of my students, please, when you're answering an online exam series, please don't go and pick a series that sells you questions. Okay, sells you questions and makes you feel scared of yourselves, because generally for an exam series out of 300 questions, I've told you around 200 or around 150 questions will be attainable, will be normal, easily available, easily attainable and approachable questions that test your basics very well. So I believe that unless and until you learn everything what a person actually in all 21 subjects, everyone should have a basic idea on certain topics for each subject. When you make that knowledge when you achieve that knowledge in each subject, you will naturally cover up this base of the pyramid. Okay, once you get into this pyramid, then there is an utility in going into the hard and very hard questions that is found in these online series. That's why I always recommend Pre-PG for you guys, because it asks repeated questions and it has all these questions in the right mix. It doesn't scare you and try to sell your material to you. Okay, so I'm not naming the other exam series because it won't be ethical, but then the one I recommend is Pre-PG because of this reason. They have a balance in their questions, as well as they always ask you repeated questions, so you always know the hot areas. They don't just pick up some random Harrison table and say, so this is a very important area, they will have questions from this, so you should be learning this table, and scare you out, and they'll misguide you into reading all the unwanted areas. See, first, I'm not saying unwanted, that may be good if you are aiming for the first rank in NEET, okay, but then if you want to come into the spectrum of getting a clinical subject of first 5,000 rank, please don't go running behind all these areas. First, you stay footed, make your basics strong, listen to a standard class series, listen, read a standard reading material, do 1 or 2 exams on each subject, that is standard, and then go for the very hard questions, that is the controversial areas and all these big newer areas and topics that usually comes up. So then it will be good, and so that's it. So that is the general tips for you to approach the DNB 1 month ahead, or like actually 45 days ahead from now. Okay, so I'll also say an effective revision plan that I've been devising for my students in Medpg. I've been telling my students to do this. But why I'm giving you this is because, see, I don't believe in formulas or some particular hard and fast plans to crack exam or in any exam, because see, each and you of you have your own reading style, have your own learning style through which you have achieved everything in your life. Every one of your doctors, okay, it doesn't matter from where you studied. If you have passed your final MBBS exam, that means that you have a particular standard and you have acquired some knowledge. That knowledge, with a little sharpening, with a little focus, and with a little effort, you can develop it, and you can come into the race and come into the forefront phase of first 5,000. That's why I'm telling you, my students always see, it should not be a rank that you're aiming, it should be a subject you're aiming and a place which we are aiming. And you study for your subject, you acquire knowledge, and rank comes as a byproduct. When something in your heart that pumps you to achieve your goal, for example, I wanted radiation oncology in a standard college, preferably an institute, and I studied with that aim in my mind rather than aiming for a top 100 or top 500 rank. Then the rank naturally came to me, because for everything that I did was to acquire knowledge and to approach an exam seriously, answer it, and come in the spectrum, in the winning streak, where you come out not as a extraordinary topper, but then you come in the spectrum somehow and you get a seat. Okay, that is the story of majority of people. See, out of that, this first 100 rank, these big superhero stories you hear in all the campings, online campings, and all these different videos, they are students who really had the capability, or from the beginning they had the material in them to reach there. So if you follow their methods, and if you say that you study 12 hours or 14 hours and then you read a lot of material like this and that, and finally you arrive at a particular rank and you believe in that story, it is all a fool's folly. Okay, what I am saying is, please stay footed. Don't go behind unnecessary advices from different people who are having a higher potential than you. I would say that you sit there, you analyze yourselves, find out your plus subjects and find out your minus subjects, put effort in your minus subjects and bring it to the normal percentile of 70, where you come in competition with the other people. Then the other plus subjects of you, for example, if you're good in biochemistry, learn biochemistry so well that you will be answering every question in biochemistry. So out of 24, you will get 22 correct. And if you are poor in anatomy, just learn basics of the anatomy that everyone knows. You should not be losing a question that comes in this basic pyramid where everyone will answer, and the medium question where some people should be answering. If you don't lose that question, I think from 24, you'll be able to answer 12 plus, that is around 15 to 18 questions will be cleared by you if you go above 70 percentile of that subject. Okay, so, and then ultimately when you finish everything like this, out of 21 subjects, your score will stand between 200 to 225 out of 300 questions in NEET. If you go about 225 questions correct, you're coming in the first 100, guys. Seriously, you're coming in the first 100 of the entire NEET examination. So you can afford to lose 75 questions. That's why I'm saying that don't get scared, don't freak out when you're not finishing a subject. Many of my students have said this anatomy, sir, was very voluminous. Lot of questions, like volume was taken up, and we couldn't finish the entire volume in Arvind Arora or neither the class notes. So we are scared, sir. What should we do? Should we sit back and learn anatomy and not go into microbiology? As in Medpg, my students are actually going into microbiology now. So I've been telling them that, please don't keep backlogs. Please, once you've finished a particular session in your class and the exam has come and you've not finished that subject, please don't keep on biting into anatomy and sitting there and losing microbiology. You have achieved some 60 or 75 percentile of anatomy by studying it for 5 days. Move on to micro. You finish micro, then you note those areas which you have not read. You're getting free time in between short subjects, you come back and read those areas, or when you're actually revising, you focus and start from that area which you have not read. And I'll give you in the end of this video, I'll give you another video on how to approach subjects and what to study. I'll be giving it by an example of anatomy actually, because most of you asked in that area. Okay, so that's what you should be doing. See, and going back into the subject, I'm saying that, see, the revision, if you're saying there is 30 days of effective revision if you're taking, okay, from June 1st you're starting to revise, or like from the last week of May you're starting to revise. First, you should be, as always tell you that you always would have a notes, like that you have listened to the class and you've prepared your own notes. You first start with your notes. You take the notes you've written for the short subjects and you read it completely. Don't go into the major and start reading your notes because you'll never finish it. So I'm saying is the shorts, there is the psychiatry, ophthalmology, ENT, ortho, RT, RD, derma and anesthesia. These notes, they'll be very concise, short and in volume. Just finish those notes, finish completely. The cover to cover, you finish these notes, okay? And then if possible, and you're good in these 4 subjects, you finish cover to cover of patho, micro, pharmac and forensic, the notes only. See, it might be seem too much, but then if you're not a very good person in patho, micro and pharmac, don't go into it. You can read the hot areas and finish it off. But then you should definitely read cover to cover of these subjects because they yield a lot of questions from that notes alone. Okay, so finish those notes, and then what you should be doing is simulate an exam. Okay, you start working out question papers. My strategy would be you just take this guide of a preparation for All India exam by Arvind Arora. It is actually a book that gives you questions from the last DNBs and NEETs. 300 questions will be there for each session, and they'll be giving you a review or an explanation for each question subject wise. Okay, so that is a very good approach. What I'm trying to say is if you finish the last 4 years question paper, you'll be finishing around 1200. That is actually the 2 years, actually, sorry, the last 2 years of question paper, you'll be finishing 1200 questions. Okay, so that would be like if you do 60 questions per day. Okay, sorry, this one was actually 60 questions per day. Once again, if you do 60 questions per day, you can actually finish in 20 days. You'll finish 1200 questions. So 60 questions per day will actually lead into 60 topics per day, approximately. Sometimes maybe repeats, but then approximately 60 topics per day. So you finish the entire 1200 questions in 20 days. That is 60 questions per day you finish, and with the notes and the review, you correlate with your subject notes that you have written, and you read the question, you write as an exam, see your scoring. Okay, your aim should be when you're finishing 300 questions, you should have scored more than 200. That should be your aim. If you can do this, I'll say that you will be safely landing between first rank and 5000 rank for the next NEET. Okay, if you can score that, but then everything else is like chance factor or luck factor. So, but just let me just say this. So first you will be reading the notes. Okay, then you'll be doing a self-limited examination in the next 20 days. So you should divide your time between notes and the questions. See, it'll be wise to finish one particular subject. For example, if you're finishing biochemistry, go into the questions of biochemistry, and then you finish 60 questions on that day of biochemistry. Or you can actually do both separately also. But then I will say that if you are confident enough and if you're good enough and you can manage your time very well and you can predict how much you will finish, I will say that if you can go along with subjects, the notes and the questions in tandem, that will be the best way. Okay, so you finish these 60 questions per day. By the end of 20 days, you'll finish 1200 questions and all the topics from the recent 2 exams. Okay, and the last 10 days should be spent on learning only the volatile areas. See, for me, I'll just say this is my volatile areas. For you, it might be different. So I wouldn't ask you to blindly follow my areas, but these are the areas that I read the last 10 days. See, for me, anatomy, embryology is very important. For DNB, embryology is a hot topic because always DNB questions will have 2+ questions of embryology. Okay, then image-based questions of CNS sections and nerves and the different plexuses will be definitely asked. Usually that is a trend for anatomy, image-based questions to come from a particular brain area, brain section, or they'll be asking to identify a structure. That is a particular trend in the image-based questions for anatomy. So learn the different sections of brain and the nerves, all nerves from, that is the cranial nerves, how they exit in their course, the median nerve, radial nerve, ulnar nerve, the brachial plexus, the lumbar and sacral plexus, as well as the vein, the nerves of the lower limb, the femoral nerve and the sciatic nerve and the peroneal nerves. So learn all these nerves, its course, its different clinical implications, and always correlate clinically because an anatomist always tries to ask the question clinically correlating, a good anatomist. So you correlate the areas and gross I would say that just learn the structures, the major named structures. For example, if you see the quadrangles of the arm or the triangles, cubital fossa, the neck triangles, the different nodal levels, the neck cervical nodes, the axillary lymph nodes, lymphatic drainage. See, these are some important areas in gross anatomy where clinically relevant areas come up. So that area will be a hot topic for the general anatomy questions. And the clinically relevant, I told you, clinically relevant areas you read in anatomy in the last 10 days. Physiology, always read nerve muscle physiology. It is one topic no physiologist can leave without getting a question from, because when a physiologist starts to set a question paper itself, the first thing that they'll come into your mind will be nerve muscle physiology, because it is one of the most important topics we study inside physiology itself. And then endocrinology also. They have lot of normal things to be asked from endocrinology and nerve muscle physiology, because physiology is about normancy. So normancy, and we should be knowing the normancy of these two areas very well. So they'll always ask questions from these two areas: nerve muscle physiology, endocrinology. The muscle twitch, the graph, timing, the Rio base, chronaxy, all those terms, and the different electrolytes, the nerve muscle potential, all these things are very important topics. Read it over and over again, because they'll ask questions in different channels also. Okay, and endocrinology also, the receptors and general physiology, the different terminologies and definitions, all these things they'll always ask questions from. And physiology, just learn the electrolytes, how they are being separated in the different phases, the loop of Henle, proximal convoluted tubule, distal convoluted tubule, and how the electrolytes go in and out, and the different hormones acting at different level. See, these are questions that are shared in different subjects. See, it comes in pharmac, it comes in patho, it comes from medicine, it comes in physiology, it comes in pediatrics. So it's a very common connected topic, nephro. So nephro of all areas are important. Nephro of pediatrics, nephro of patho, nephro of pharmac, and nephro of physiology is very important. Okay. So physiology, you learn these areas in the last 10 days because it's yielding. Biochemistry, wow, it's a beautiful subject, because biochemistry links with everything, and one of the hottest areas and predictable areas in the entire 21 subject is biochem. If you finish genetics, applied biochemistry, amino acids, and structure of nucleic acids and proteins, see, that will finish 90% of biochem. The others will come from carbon metabolism, respiratory system, as well as the vitamins and hemoglobin. So that is the other areas. But then if you read genetics and applied biochemistry over and over again, also the proteins and different proteins, for example, electrophoresis, positive reactants and negative phase reactants, all these things they tend to ask repeatedly. The multiple myeloma, Ben Jones proteins, immunoglobulins, all these things they'll ask regularly. So if you learn the protein area, and the genetics, applied biochemistry, and genetics area from biochemistry, especially Rebecca Madam's book, if you finish that book, it will yield you, I'm guaranteeing you guys, if you finish Rebecca Madam's book from cover to cover, I've told this over and over again, it will yield you 20 questions, 25 questions, definitely for the entire NEET exam. Okay, and pathology, I would suggest to read Devashim Sir's textbook, that is general pathology, oncology, cell cycle, and nephrology. 4 areas in pathology that is highly volatile. You read it over and over again. General patho is very important. They'll be asking questions consistently. Oncology, as always, I've told you, it'll be having questions. And then cell cycle, it is very rare to ask a question from there, but it is a small topic. But cell cycle will help you understand a lot of other things, other subjects. It helps you understand concepts and approach questions conceptually. So please read that cell cycle area also. Microbiology, the volatile areas will be general bacteriology, and the quick read on all bacteria and toxins and name conditions. Just read the name stuff, this classic cliche stuff. I'll say the easy method will be to do some questions. See, rather than reading the entire notes, you take a particular bacteria, do out all the questions, see the review and explanation that will do in a last 10-day revision. Don't go and read the reading notes of microbiology completely, because it will be too much. Okay, you learn immunology and parasitology very well, because they always tend to ask questions for parasitology. Parasitology notes are concise and short. If you read the entire 20 pages notes of parasitology, you can answer every single question for parasitology. So that is yielding. So learn parasitology, and also the types and structure of viruses. PSM is a very vast subject. There is no point in finishing the entire PSM. I would say that if you read infections, programs, screening, vaccine, contraception, all numerical problems from SPM, as well as the different national programs, that will finish the entire PSM. Don't go deep into the other things. I will say that you finish the standard last 2 years question paper of PSM in NEET or DNB. Read these topics and just close it off if you have not read PSM before. If you have actually read PSM before and you have a standard concise note with you, that is very good, and you have you have practically noted all those things that you really forget every time, then that is well and good. If you have not read PSM completely, this will be an easy shortcut. I did this for my exam and I'm sitting in JIPMA. So I will say that that will do for PSM. Screening, vaccines and infectious disease, contraception, statistics, all numerical questions from PSM and the programs. If you finish that, that's well and done. Okay. Pharmacology also, general pharmacology is important. All numericals and graphs, especially the absorption, distribution and metabolism and redistribution of drugs. All the graphs related to the redistribution, that is the metabolism of a drug and the enzyme activities. All the graphs related to the enzyme activities and the theories will be important. ANS, that is the ANS. See, whenever a pharmacologist put a question, they always tend to put questions from ANS because it's their favorite topic. Every pharmacologist, alpha blocker, beta blocker, the alpha sympatholytics, mimetics, parasympatholytics, all those different things that made our head cook into cake during our MBBS day. See, that is the same area. You read the entire area, it will be well and good. Okay. Also the newer drugs, the classic drugs. The newer drugs will be like, there is a topic in Swashgupta, there's a chapter, you read that chapter, as well as the classic drugs will be those drugs that they always prescribed in the clinical practice. They have a tendency to put those drugs, for example, antihypertensives, anti-epileptics, anti-emetics. See, these are standard drugs we use for a daily clinical practice, and for anti-diabetics, that is the anti-hyperglycemic drugs and the insulin. See, these are areas which are being used on daily basis by every single person who's a doctor. Okay, so you should be knowing these drugs because they have questions from these areas to test your basics. So the classic drugs should always be learned. Then the newer drugs, just learn the name, their action. If possible, go into the immunoclonal, the monoclonal antibodies, and there's a formula to learn the action and the name of the monoclonal antibodies written in Swashgupta. Read that standard practice of naming also, nomenclature of monoclonal antibodies. Okay. Then psychopharmacology and neurological drugs will be important. If you read that, it is well and good. It will help you in psychiatry also, that's why. Then forensic, as told you, all laws, toxics and classic science. That's enough. Pediatrics, neonatology, endocrinology, genetics and oncology, very important for pediatrics. And endocrinology also, read that. And growth and development, just brush through the different dates and timings, how the child develops. And also the major MCQs in those chapters will be important. Endocrinology, the adrenal hyperplasia and the different enzyme defects in those androgenic drugs from the adrenal, hormones from the adrenal will be important in pediatrics. Learn those subjects. The electrolyte imbalance also is important there. And oncology or pediatric malignancies are very important. So learn that very well. Okay, ONG is just read Ashita's notes and if possible finish. Sorry, that is more than enough. So if you're not having sir's notes, I'll say just read Sakshi Arora. That's more than enough. 99% questions will be coming from only that area, and that is a high yielding area. 24 questions straight a run you can get if you spend 6 days in ONG, 4 for gynec and 2 for obstetrics. You finish the entire gynec, then you will be actually getting 20 questions out of 24 questions correct for gynec. And gynec malignancies is a hot spot. You get at least 5 to 6 questions from gynec malignancies if 24 is going to be asked from gynec. So learn the gynec malignancies and contraception very well. I'll say that is the one hot area in ONG. Read contraception, gynec malignancies and infertility. That will gain you a lot of questions. So that is ONG. Okay. So that is just a gist of how to approach the DNB exam this in the last 1 month. This is for those people who have actually finished one reading for the entire subject. All 21 subjects. If you are still learning in the phase of learning each subject and not finished much subjects, I would say that stick to your subjects. Which one you have finished, you read those notes and revise and go for the exam. Don't try to jump into all the big subjects and start studying and lose your revision phase. If you are seriously planning to take a DNB seat and go into DNB, then I would say that finish your subjects, read the hot topics as I have told you. Okay, just read these areas. For those people who have not finished completely, if you are planning to stop your study in between, go and take in a DNB seat you're getting, then I would say that you finish your subjects that you've really learned, revise them very well. Take these areas and finish it in a standard guide. I always suggest the reading material I've given already. Take the reading material and finish the standard notes in these areas from these subjects from those books. Okay, and then approach the exam with confidence. Or else if you are actually just attending your NEET as DNB as a prelude or like something to get taste of the next NEET, I will say that you finish your subjects, you revise your subjects and continue with your studies of the normal classes that is going on and attend your NEET as just a trial. Don't put too much energy into DNB this June session. and as a trial for the NEET, you attend this exam and study the pattern, see how you have been working, look whether you are getting the questions that you've learned, and be confident. Okay, that's it. If you are liking this video, please like and subscribe. Also share the video in your Facebook page. Thank you.